So thank you for coming.
Sure.
My first question, have you ever considered superhero movies? I think you'd be great.
I have, well, I haven't considered them. I like your thinking. Now I'm too old to be I'd be like Batman's dad who gets killed in the first reel, But I like superhero movies. I'm a comic book nerd also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Favorite? I was always Spider-Man. I guess was my favorite growing up. But now I'm reading this comic book called Black Hammer, which is a new comic book. And I really liked, what is it? It's on HBO now. I can't think of the name of it because it's early. Nobody knows.
I don't get HBO. Everyone cites HBO.
Watchmen.
Oh, I do. I love the regular movie.
Yes, the regular movie was okay. The book, actual comic book, graphic novel was really good.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good.
All right,
better than the
check
movie.
That out. Yeah, I love the exploration, how they're not just anti-heroes, but it explores power and
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
yeah.
We'll get the SNL stuff out of the way because I have to ask. What was that like to be part of a decade that produced so many megastars? Did you realize what was happening when it was happening?
Honestly, no. Honestly, we were just all young and focused on trying to get our sketches on the show that week. I don't think anybody was thinking like, I'm gonna be the next big star. It's pretty much created by the audience. The audience will latch on to certain personalities at any given time, depending on characters you create or comedy that you put on the show. So it's like no way of telling how big your career is going to be, because even people that were consistently funny on the show weren't considered like big stars, like Phil Hartman, for instance. He was one of the best performers on the show ever, but he didn't have a movie career like Mike Myers or Dana Carvey.
Yeah, but since his death, he seems to have really picked up an audience. People go back with The Simpsons and things like that. Like he has a big name now.
Yeah, I think people really appreciate him now. But I don't know. I feel like people appreciated him then too.
Yeah.
He never achieved that kind of status of other people from the show. But on the show, he was one of the best performers that I'd ever worked with.
I'm always interested to get the take of older cast members of what's happening now. Do you feel like the satire on current SNL is a bit lazy? I've heard that before from other comedians.
I don't know. Not really. I think it's hit and miss like it is with any sketch. Sometimes I think with political humor or social humor, you can hit it on the head too much, and that's kind of easy. So it's a little bit difficult, but I don't feel that they're lacking anything or not trying. I think it's just like any other comedy sketch. Either you dig it or you don't.
I think that's an interesting point, because when I would watch SNL in the 90s, there were skits that didn't hit, and you might say the next Monday, SNL wasn't very good, but we don't remember that. We remember the big
ones that you liked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The 90s were great.
Yeah, it's like that too when you watch, if you watch the original show, there was other sketches in between the Coneheads and the Bees, and that you forget they were slow-moving sketches that sometimes had really corny endings or whatever. But the ones that hit that you love them. You know what I'm saying? So.
And they embody that whole era then.
Yes.
Any sketches that you wrote that never made it that you wish
There's
had?
a lot.
Yeah.
No. Did I wish what?
That you wish had made it. You're like, that would have been a good one.
Well, not really. There were sketches that if I wrote a sketch that didn't make it, there was a reason it didn't make it. I never thought, that deserved to be on, as opposed to Wayne's World or something. There was always a reason. There was always something stronger. I would get upset if it was another sketch that was weak that was put on the show. But there's not a lot of things that I had one sketch, and it was probably because I just remember it, but I had a sketch about I played a centaur, where I was half human, half horse, who was a juvenile delinquent in high school. And the sketch was about the coach, who was Christopher Walken, trying to get my character to try out for the track team. And it, to me, was a funny, ridiculous sketch, but to the audience, it was just like, they didn't really respond. They liked it, but they didn't love it.
Yeah.
And so when it got cut, I was like, it deserved to be cut.
Yeah.
You know. And then Christopher Walken, years later, I was on like a talk show, and he was the other guest, and he doesn't talk a lot, you know. And then we were just sitting in the green room, and then he was just, and then he turns to me and he goes, "The centaur sketch, it's good." It's like, that was from 15 years ago. And it was like it just came to him. It was,
Wow.
"The centaur sketch, it's good."
I'm going to make
Thanks,
a whole
Chris.
show out of that with you.
Yeah.
Do you know when you have a hit character or sketch like Wayne's World or Ladies Man, or does that evolve? Do you have to wait until you see the audience reaction to it?
You have to wait to see the audience's reaction. And sometimes it can fool you, you know, like I'm trying to think of my own personal experiences, but like like Ladies Man was, I think the first time we did it after Update. It was near the end of the show. I knew it was funny. I knew it was funny. The writers knew it was funny. Lauren Michaels was a big fan of the character when we did it in read through for the first time. And then the audience, they laughed, they enjoyed it. But then we had no idea that it was going to get the popularity that it did. Really, we had no idea. The only thing we thought about was how much fun we had writing it in the office on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
And if we could, we were also just excited to see if we could get things past the censors with that sketch. If we could do double entendres or make a comment about some disgusting sexual act, but make it really charming, to see if they'll cut it. And that was fun. That was like fun.
Yeah.
But the audience's love of the character, even now, still amazes me. That when people will, I was flying here at the airport, and this guy came over and was saying how much he loved Ladies Man, and you know, started quoting lines from it.
Do you mind?
I don't mind. No, I don't mind at all. I tell this story, but I read this book. It was a biography by Adam West, who played Batman.
Yeah.
And he said after he did Batman, he tried to do other things, and he was miserable because people they knew him from Batman.
Yeah.
And then once he accepted the fact that that was who he was and would be known for, he was happy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I said to myself, I'm gonna use that as an example. I'm not gonna hate the fact that this is what people know me for, because I'm gonna do other things. I still got a career ahead of me. But I'm gonna appreciate the fact that I made an impression on some people in comedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. That is a good perspective. Do you keep in touch with anybody from the SNL cast?
Yeah. I mean, we're all guys that I work with a lot. We're still friends.
Yeah.
Sandler and Chris Rock, probably are the two people I talk to the most of the, people you know. But I end up working with a lot of people anyways, so, it's fun. Like I worked with Paula Pell, who was a writer on the show just recently. She has a show now that's going to be on this internet website. So I got to work with her, and I see some of the writers. One of the guys that I wrote Ladies Man with, Andrew Steele, I see him all the time. We talk and text. Chris Rock and I love him. Chris and I always sort of joke that they pitted us against each other at SNL, and then they were surprised because we turned out to be really good friends. and that's the way it is now. We talk. He's one of the people that I can talk to about anything. And I can text him and say, hey, I need to talk about something. And he'll call me at 5. So yeah, we're still friends. I love him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You've gone on to have a very successful career in TV, and TV is in this weird intersection where you have the Netflix, you have Hulu, and you're still finding success in traditional outlets. Where do you think all this is going? Do you enjoy what's happening to television right now?
I do. I mean, as an actor, it's just there's more opportunities to work. And I kind of find myself now in a place where I'm known already, so I don't have to prove myself to somebody that's coming up with a TV show or want to hire me for something. And then, you know, there's just so many choices to see really good things. I just wish it wasn't, the only thing I wish is I wish it was free.
Yeah.
Like it used to be.
Yeah.
Then it's just too bad that you have to, because I would love to see Mandalorian, but I don't want to, I already got Netflix and Hulu, and I got to pay now just to watch one show that I want to see, you know. So hopefully it feels like it's sort of, the bubble is bursting, and then it's going to start like getting smaller, and
Yeah.
you'll be able to focus more on
One fee for a package of something, I don't know.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You play, I wanted to ask you about your kids. From what I understand, you have to, I read someplace or someone told me you have to remind your kids that you're famous. Is that still the case?
That's a joke, partly. Now, when I told this story on Stephen Colbert's show.
Okay.
Is that I will occasionally remind my kids that I'm famous because I think they don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
And so the running joke sometimes with my kids is I'll be doing something that every dad does. And I'll go, it must be really cool to have Tim Meadows, a nationally known actor, cooking you eggs. I mean, who experienced? I don't make eggs for anybody. Audiences pay to watch me do comedy, and here I am serving you toast, you know. And they used to laugh at it. Now they don't even care.
No, I
know.
can't.
And they, I mean, now that they're older, they sort of get it, and they get the fact that people know me and stuff. And I used to explain to them when they were younger, because people would be excited to see me sometimes, that with what I do makes people happy. So when people see me, they want to express how happy they are to see me. And so it's different from if you're Robert De Niro or somebody like that, where you do a lot of drama and people are like, they might be apprehensive about approaching you because they think you're a serious person.
Right.
But with comedians, they love you, and they feel like you're theirs, you know.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
No social media for you.
No.
Why's that?
Well, I had experiences where I realized it wasn't of value to me on a daily basis. I had one day where I got criticized by people on Twitter for a joke that I made about something that was very not political, and then I got these negative responses from people, and it affected me, and it ruined my day, and I was sitting around depressed, and I realized that I was depressed about something from someone that I don't even know, and I let a complete stranger ruin my day, and that was it. I was like, I don't need this. I can beat myself up on my own. I don't need some stranger in Rochester criticizing me for saying something funny.
Yeah.
So I quit it. And also, there was another incident too where I had been talking about a school my kid was going to go to, and then on the feed one day came up an ad for the school, and I was like, whoa! I had never mentioned this on this app or on this media thing, and to me I just felt like either they're listening or they're reading something. And then that was it. I was just like, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
You have good decision in retrospect?
So great. I have a fake Twitter account that I'll look at for like, oh, what are people talking about or whatever.
Yeah.
But I follow very minor, boring. I follow the NBA referees. I might be their only follower.
You do not.
I follow them, and I follow like a cooking magazine. and then that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
But the NBA referees, the best. The best.
why? You're joking.
I'm serious.
What do
NBA
they tweet about?
They tweet about refereeing. Yeah, wasn't this a great call that we made? Why do people hate us? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Last question. People, if they come to the show, what kind of stand-up do you provide?
Well, I've been doing it for a while. I just realized, and recently I've been doing it for 10 years. So I'm good at it. And, but I think it's typical of a stand-up show. I talk about myself, I talk about my career, I talk about my family, I talk about being a dad, or I talk about being divorced and dating again, and the awkwardness of dating and being with new people. I talk about the mistakes I make as a father and good things that I do. And I talk about some political, it's sort of all over the place.
Yeah.
And it sort of depends on the crowd and what I'm feeling or what I can remember that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But the shows are always somewhat different because I talk to the audience sometimes, or I'll do bits that I enjoy doing, but if the audience isn't with me, then I might not do it.
Right.
So it changes, and I try to make it fun for myself.
Do you ever try to incorporate improv, which you still do, by the way, and that's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I've read, that's really what you grew up specializing in. Do you
Right.
ever kind of fall back on that at all?
I do. I mean, I do within the periods of the show where I'm talking to the audience, or I might have a moment of where I remember something that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But for these shows, I try to be as prepared as I can because people are paying to come and see it.
Yeah.
So, but I improvise a little bit, usually with the audience, and it can be fun. It's always exciting because I don't know where it's going to go.
Right.
And I tell the audience that when we're doing it, I go, I don't know what's happening. We're just talking. This is what humans do. We're not we're not texting, and we're just, as uncomfortable as this is, we're being real with each other.
Yeah.
And then it gets funny from there too. Though.
Yeah. That's going to be great. Anything else you want to add that I might have missed?
No.
Okay. I think that's fine. That's good.
I got nothing else to say to you.
I've heard that.